Right. So find that nice, comfortable position draped over your blanket roll. You need to do any little wiggles to get comfortable or adjust where that support is behind you. Take a moment to do that. And then begin to settle into your body. You might begin by noticing the support from that blanket roll in the floor, maybe the coolness of the floor under your hands. You might scan through your body and notice if there's anywhere that you're holding onto tension that you can allow to release a little bit. Might mean you need to wiggle your jaw a little bit. Maybe you're holding onto tension in your neck or shoulders or your belly. Invite that to soften a little bit. If there's any part of your body that needs a little extra gentleness or compassion tonight, you might also become aware of that. Begin to notice your breath. Might notice movement through your belly. Maybe that lift through your chest is a little bit different as you breathe, and you notice that. Might notice the air moving in and out of your nostrils. Might begin to allow your breath to become a little bit slower and deeper. Take full breaths in. Nice long exhales out. Stay with that movement of the breath or any of those sensations in your body as you begin to settle in. Take about 5 or 6 more slow, deep breaths. Allow everything to be heavy and still. Begin to move towards the end of this position. Consider your best way to remove the blanket roll and return to your back body. That could be rolling off to one side or leading with your chest as you lift up towards a seat. Slide that blanket roll away and then come right back down. Welcome to leave your arms alongside your body or bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. We'll pause here for a few minutes and just allow our spine to come back to neutral. Take one more full breath in. Nice long exhale out. Begin to stretch your arms overhead. This full body stretch. Release your arms down. Bend your knees. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice big hug. Might begin to make gentle circles with your knees or rock a little bit from side to side. And then release your feet down to the floor, close to your hips, knees bent. Nice full breath in and long exhale out. Begin to cross your right ankle over your left knee. Let your right knee drop away from your body. You might stay right here. Your body would like more sensation. You can lift your left foot off of the floor, interlace your hands behind your left thigh, and hug everything in. You might notice if you tend to fall out to the right side a little bit and bring everything right into the center. See if that changes where you feel anything. This won't be one of our longer holds. We're just starting to wake up our hips a little bit. Nice full breaths in as you're here. Take about 3 more breaths. And if your left foot is lifted off the floor, on the next exhale, drop your foot back down. Bring your arms out to the side like a T or bent elbow cactus arms. Press into your left foot to shift your hips a couple inches to the right, and then drop your knees to the left and find your favorite twist. So if you need to readjust that cross, maybe you want to stack your knees. Your favorite version, whatever that is in your body today, might be different than yesterday. Stay here a little bit longer. Might begin to notice where you feel this in your spine. Always welcome to make any adjustments or shifts along the way. Do what's right for your body. Might notice what it's like to find this time in stillness. Might be the longest you've paused and checked in with your body today. So notice what that's like. Take about 3 more breaths. Nice deep inhales, exhales. You feel ready, begin to unwind back to center. Shift your hips right to the middle, feet wide, knees touch. Hands rest wherever it's comfortable. Again, take just a few breaths to allow everything to come back to neutral. And you feel ready, walk your feet back to about hip width apart and cross your left ankle over your right knee. Drop your left knee away from your body. If you would like more sensation, once again, option to lift your right foot up, interlace your hands behind your right thigh, and hug everything in. Begin to notice how this side feels today. Take a few more of those slow, deep breaths. Next, exhale. If your right foot is lifted, drop it down to the floor. Arms come out to a T or cactus arms. Press into your right foot to shift your hips a couple inches to the left. Let your knees fall over to the right, perhaps looking over your left shoulder. Once again, find your favorite version of a twist, whatever that might be. You're also always welcome to use any of those props for support. That could be a blanket or block underneath or between your knees, or anything else that feels supported. You might notice where you feel this in your spine on this side. could be different than the first side. Take about 5 or 6 more of those slow, deep breaths. When you feel ready, begin to unwind back to center. Readjust your hips right to the middle. Either find that constructive rest, feet wide, knees touch, or you might windshield wipe your legs from side to side a few times. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here. When you feel ready, roll onto your right side. Your left hand to the floor and press all the way up towards a seat. Move nice and slow. You arrive in your seat, pause there just for a moment. Allow your head a few moments to become adjusted to being over your heart. We're going to move towards a forward fold. So if you like props for that, you could maybe either make a little stack for your head or grab a bolster, or you can also just let gravity do the work. So all choices are good. We're going to stretch our legs out long. You might shake them out a little bit as you arrive. And if you'd like to sit up on the edge of a blanket, please feel free to do so. When you have everything where you would like it to be, start with that nice tall spine first. Feet nice and relaxed because we're in yin, not vinyasa. Lean forward with your chest, but then round your spine down and find that support for your head, or let everything hang down. Gravity also does a wonderful job with this. As you settle in, you might notice what the backs of your legs, the backs of your spine feel like. Nice deep breaths as you begin to settle. Our yin practice, we spend a lot of time practicing mindfulness. So if you begin to notice that you drift away, your thoughts wander, very gently, without judgment, continue to come back to this breath in this moment over and over again as often as you need to. You begin to come towards the end of this position. You might notice if anything feels a little bit different through the backs of your legs or through your spine. Take a few more of those slow, deep breaths. Ready, slowly begin to lift back up. Might bring your hands back behind you. Lean back, open through your chest. It would feel nice. You can very gently rock from side to side. Back to center and lift all the way up. Bring your feet nice and wide. You're welcome to turn to the side if you'd like that cushion for your heels. I'm going to give you a couple of options. You might repeat a forward fold here, or you might explore a side body stretch. So you could bring one hand to a block or a bolster, stretch over. Opposite arm can either come overhead and maybe just hang there and rest. Or if that does not feel comfortable, you can just rest in front of you. So decide what sounds good to you, forward fold or side stretch. Begin to set yourself up in whatever that might be. If you're doing a side stretch, I'll tell you when we're about halfway through. So find your version of what you would like to explore and settle in. Use as many props as you would like. Props are our best friends here, or no props at all. I do in front. I think it's a little bit more gentle, but you do whatever feels best for you. Wherever you are, full deep breaths. And no wrong answer. As long as it doesn't hurt, Do what feels good in your body. Doesn't have to look like what anyone else is doing. If you're exploring a side body stretch, you might very slowly begin to lift up. Shift any props you're using to the other side, and then settle back in nice and slow. Wherever you are, take about 3 more breaths. You feel ready, very slowly and gently begin to lift back up. You might bring your hands under your knees to help them bend. And maybe plant your feet in front of you and do that little windshield wiper movement again. Another breath or two here. You're ready, lift back up to center. Turn back towards the front of the mat. Roll over your ankles and into a tabletop position. And you might want a couple of blocks towards the front of your mat. If you would like a blanket under your knees for support, you are welcome to do that. So I usually make it a little bit wider so it's not too thick. You're all set. So tabletop position, hands, knees, and toes all strongly connected to the ground. While you're here, take a couple rounds of cat and cow. So arch your spine as you look down towards your knees and drop your belly to the floor as you look forward. A few more rounds of that at your own pace. Then come back to center and stillness. Take a nice full breath in. Exhale out. Walk your right hand in towards the center of your mat and step your right foot outside your right hand towards the outside of your mat. Then point your toes so they're at about a 45-degree angle. Shift your weight forward. You might walk your left knee back a little bit and let your right knee drop away from your body. So you might come onto the pinky toe side of your right foot. You might stay here. If you want more sensation, you could bring your elbows down to blocks or all the way to the floor. This will also not be one of our longer holds. Just getting that nice big opening through our hips. Might be a little longer than you might experience it in your other vinyasa type classes though. So breathe into those tight places. If it's ever too much, listen to that and back out. You can stay with that sensation and continue to notice it. Take about 3 more breaths. We're moving towards a pigeon variation, our sleeping swan. If you know that does not work in your body, return to that figure 4 that we did near the beginning, or do something else that feels good in your body. No wrong answer. When you're ready, lift back up to tall, straight arms if you're not there already. Shift your weight back and then wiggle your right foot towards your left wrist. Let your right knee drop down to the floor. Your ankle can pull in towards your body. It does not need to be parallel to the front of your mat. Start nice and lifted and then fold in. If it's useful, you could pad beneath your hip with a blanket. You could have a block to rest your head on or anything else that feels useful. Settle in. What is happening in your body? If there's ever any of those sharp pains, back out to do anything else. Just notice tightness and that deep stretch. That is absolutely fine. Take about 3 more slow, deep breaths. When you're ready, begin to lift back to tall, straight arms. Then you might roll onto your right thigh, swing your legs over to the left, and come back to that tabletop position. Take a few moments, do any little wiggles, anything that would release tension or stretch out anything from that last position. And then come back to neutral in that tabletop position. Walk your left hand in towards the center of your mat. Step your left foot outside of your left hand towards the edge of your mat. Point your toes at that 45-degree angle. And as you shift your weight forward, let your knee drop away from your body. You can come onto the pinky toe side of your left foot. Once you're there, if you would like to add a little bit more sensation, you can bring your elbows down to blocks or the floor. Continue to let your left knee drop away from your body. It's also absolutely fine to stay up on tall, straight arms. You might look a little bit in front of your mat to keep your neck in line with the rest of your spine. Stay with that full, deep breath that help you in staying with those tight places you might be noticing. Like to think about sending oxygen to the tight places. So those full breaths in can help with that. Nice long exhales can release a little bit more tension. Take about 3 more breaths. When you feel ready, lift back up to tall, straight arms if you're not there already. And start to wiggle your left foot over towards your right wrist. Let your left knee drop down behind your left wrist. You might walk your right knee back a little bit. Lift up nice and tall just for a moment. And then fold forward. Remember, you can use any props that would be useful, something under your hip, a block under your head, whatever helps you feel supported. If there's any wiggles, adjusting, or shifting you need to do, you're also always welcome to do what your body needs. Keep coming back to that slow, deep breath as often as you need to. Take about 3 more breaths. When you're ready, lift back to tall, straight arms. Shift your weight onto your left thigh. Swing your legs around and come back to that tabletop position. And once again, do any little wiggles that help release that. Could be from table, downward facing dog, anything that feels like it's helpful for you. Using a blanket for padding for your knees, you might shift that off to the side. And then however you'd like to get there, lower all the way down to your belly. Stack your hands in front of you and rest your cheek there just for a breath or two to readjust to this new shape. Or just a couple rounds of back bends. So listen to your spine. If it does not feel good, come back to this position or anything else that feels useful for you. You would like to explore a back bend and start to lift up towards a Sphinx position. Elbows just slightly in front of the shoulders, fingers spread wide, palms face down. Press into your elbows, lengthen your spine, lift your ears away from your shoulders. Might notice your belly pressing into the floor with those slow, deep breaths. We hold our back bends for about a minute each. So it's long enough to let your spine know it's okay to stretch, but not so much that it makes your spine too crunchy. So we'll take about 2 more breaths before we lower back down. One more full breath in. On your exhale, stack your palms, elbows come out, lower down, and rest one cheek on your hands. Like you might bend your knees and let your feet sway a little bit from side to side. And release your feet back down to the floor. If you'd like to explore one more back bend, you can lift up and start in that same Sphinx position. If you want more sensation, you're welcome to press into your palms, straighten your arms, elbows lift off of the floor. If you've chosen your seal with elbows lifted, you can always drop back down if you feel like this is a little bit too much. Three more nice big breaths. Might even notice your belly pressing into the floor. One more big inhale. Exhale, release your elbows down first if they're lifted, and then lower down. Bring your hands alongside your chest. Press back either to a traditional child's form, or if you'd like, you could make a little supported child's form stack. So blocks would be a little bit wider, some space there. Bolster on top. He's still nice and wide, but as you lay over your bolster, you have that nice little space for your arms so you can hug your bolster as you lay down. Might notice your lower spine beginning to stretch out. Either variation. Big breaths. If you've been looking in one direction, you might lift up, turn your neck the other way, and settle back in. Take 3 or 4 more slow breaths. One more full breath in. Here as you exhale it out. Bring your hands to the floor on either side of the bolster. Press into your palms and slowly lift back up. Take a nice big breath in. Let it out. Keep your bolster nearby, but set your bolster in one block off to the side and keep just one block for the moment. If you are familiar with supported bridge, you can begin to make your way there. If not, you might take a peek first so you're not craning your neck around too much. We're going to keep our feet close to our hips, press our elbows into the floor to tuck our shoulder blades together. Then lift up our hips, slide the block under our sacrum, level 1 or 2, and then let it rest. Once you're there, you might snuggle the shoulder blades a little closer together. Palms might face up and take a little rest here. If you would like, you might stay right here. Might feel good in your body. You can begin to lift your feet off the floor and stretch your legs towards the ceiling for legs up the wall variation. Both are good choices. Do whatever works well in your body today. Take 3 or 4 more breaths. If your feet are lifted off the ground, you might begin to bend your knees, return your feet close to your hips. Press into the floor to lift your hips. Slide the block off to the side, lower your hips all the way down. One deep, full breath in. Let it out. Then roll over to your side and press up to a seat so we can set up all of our props for our final rest. So you might put one block near the back of your mat and then the other 2 blocks kind of near the middle. Your bolster will rest on top of that block, so you have a nice little ramp going on here. And then we're using all the props for this one. So find that blanket roll. If you lost it, re-roll it. If you'd like that second blanket for some support across your chest or your belly, you're welcome to have that pulled nearby. So once you have those, sit right up against your bolster. Bring the soles of your feet together. Then pick up your blanket roll, put it right on top of your feet, lift your knees, and pull the edges of the blanket around your ankles so you have some good support there. Begin to lower down. These blocks are on the side or a little armrest if you would like them. Palms can be face up or down. If you want that second blanket for support, rest it across your belly and chest. Any variation of this can be lovely. If this does not feel good in your body, you might take a more traditional final rest. Find something that feels good in your body. Take a few moments to check back in with yourself. Notice how you feel after those positions. And allow that focus to drift away. Let your body and mind take rest. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring awareness back into your body. Begin to wiggle fingers or circle wrists. Perhaps bring your hands outside your knees. Help them move together. Bring your feet wide like constructive rest. Begin to consider your best way to lift up. Could be rolling to one side or lifting with your chest first. Slowly make your way towards that comfortable seat. Palms come together, thumb rests at heart. Deep gratitude that you all chose to be here today. Gratitude to all of our teachers that have passed this tradition down through the generations. And gratitude that we got to practice together in this space here tonight. We'll close our practice by bringing our thumbs to our forehead and bowing. The light in me bows to and honors the light in each of you. Thank you for being here.